Hello and welcome. This is your host Masroor Pirzado. Today in this podcast we have a guest, a very distinguished personality. He is Professor Dr. Syed Azhar Shah. He is PhD in IT. So we welcome you, sir, here in our show. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And actually, Azhar Shah is a person who belongs to the field of science, but he also believes that art and science together can form a better society, better world. Today we will talk about Shah Latif and his scientific approach in his poetry, because as he is a great poet, and as we know, all great poets have scientific approach in their poetry. So how do you see Shah Latif's poetic scientific approach in his poetry, and how much science is there in his Risalo?
Thank you, Dr. Masroor, inviting me in this very fruitful and creative activity that is related to the modern interpretation of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai's poetry. And to start with, if we see normally that science and poetry, normally they are considered to be contradictory.
Different things, opposites.
Very different things, something contradictory. But if we see in deep and if we perceive the real message of the poetry, then it discloses that if the poetry is really a universal poetry, like the poetry of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, which is for every time and for everywhere. So that's what we call universal poetry or afaki poetry. And we have seen, and this is recognized globally, that the universal poetry gives us same sort of message, same sort of knowledge, wisdom that complements what the modern scientist discovers from the laboratory.
Okay.
So in fact,
so these are parallel things and
complementary. They are supporting
each other.
They are supporting each other. The frames of activity are different. Scientist works with sense perception, the five senses we have, and they are augmented by the equipment, by the machinery. Whereas for a creative person, for a poet, the senses are different.
So they have different tools, but
different tools, different frames of references, but the reality is same.
Okay.
And when we talk about the senses of Shah Abdul Latif, of the poetry, then there is one verse of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai which says that he kan gada vikne kan ke byagnij
jini san budhej
tani sa Priyansandi already. So these are five senses, these are apparent senses which are used by the scientific person for the investigation. But for a creative person, for an imaginary person, these senses need to be closed. And there are other senses which are immaterial. And these are the senses which are called the wisdom, the frasat, the hads, the novelness, newness, the ilham, the discovery, the intuitive inspiration, and then kashaf, and then the wahi or revelation, which is the last super sense of perception, knowledge, discovery that is given from God, from the divine to the prophets. So revelation, that is the last stage of these senses. These are the senses of inspiration. So this is the inspirational knowledge, and the inspirational knowledge, the theories, the ideas, the concepts that we get from the inspirational knowledge, from the poetry, do match with the theories, ideas that are now being explained with the help of modern science and technology. And I will discuss some of the couplets from Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai's poetry related with modern science.
Okay. Shah Latif's poetry is centuries old. Whatever he wrote is now very centuries old. So how much it is valid and is still valid in the age of AI and technology?
Yeah.
How do you see this?
When we say the poetry of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, he says Vakhar so vihai
Jo paye purano
jo paye purane. It is timeless.
Timeless.
And it is spaceless.
Yes.
For every time, for every place. It is relevant.
So it has no expiry date.
No expiry date. No expiry date. And it is relevant. And I tell you that in modern science, in computer science, in which I have done PhD,
yes.
And I am a professor of IT. I did PhD from University of Nottingham.
Right.
And the very first programmer of the computer also belongs to Nottingham, Ada Countess of Lovelace.
Great.
She was the daughter of Lord Byron.
Wow.
You know, the great poet of
Lord Byron.
England. And her mother was a princess of parallelogram. She was recognized as the princess of parallelogram. So she belonged to mathematics and her father belonged to the art. And this was the fine combination of art and science,
Great.
Genetically, inherently, which gave her capabilities and talent to develop the something magical, that is programming, which has transformed this world. Otherwise, hardware would not have done anything if there is no software, there is no spirit behind it. So Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, one couplet that I cite, it explains the process that we use in the computer that is called firewall.
Firewall, okay.
For the safety from the malicious, from the viruses, threats, from the other programs, from the network, we use the firewall in operating system of the computer, of the mobile, to protect it from the threats. And Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, though, speaks about the human, but the computer is a replication of the human.
So computer is also a human body.
It is.
It is like a human body.
It is a replication.
Okay.
Whatever science has developed, it is based on the replication of the universe. Computer is exactly a replication of the human. So with artificial intelligence, now it is having all the capabilities of the human. So when Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai talks about the human technology, these same ideas and concepts we relate in the computer science, in the IT, in the computer security. For example, Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai says, "Je tato tan tanur jiye, the chande san chamar."
Wow.
If your body is become so hard with anger, with anguish, just like oven, then sprinkle the patience. That is called the Chande San Chama. Ani Ag Adabasi Bare Jan Jala. Now, Bare Jan Jala, that means ignite from the fire from your own body with the knowledge of the literature, with the knowledge, with the literature, with the humbleness. And this is the concept of fire, Ag, that we relate it in the computer. Firewall. We develop a software which is called Firewall, and that software protects the computer from the malicious program. Similarly, human body, according to philosophy of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, can be protected from the malicious program, Shaitan, its malicious programs, its viruses, by developing the firewall with the help of the knowledge, with the help of literature, with the help of Burukya andar bazyun panjun sab pacha. You know that within the human body there is something good as well as bad.
Like cholesterol, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol.
Cholesterol, bad cholesterol, yeah. So there is always this game, and Quran Pak relates human philosophy, the life of the human, is sports, is a pastime. Wamal hayat dunya illa laibun lab. The worldly life is just like sports and pastime. And in any game, in any sport, we play with someone or some other team, and whoever scores high wins the game. So in the life, we are the players, and our team against us is the shaitan. The player against us is the shaitan. And if we do good, we win the game. If we do the bad things that are imposed upon us by the shaitan, then shaitan wins. So that is the test, and that is the game. And Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai says, "Burkya andar bazyun panjun sab bacha." So within our body, this khair and shar, the goodness and the badness, the evil and the good, we have to be expert in it, in this game of the life. Luchan Latif chaye padar had mapai. Don't give any clue to other people what you are doing, how you are improving your software, how you are updating your software.
Okay.
You see, the human behavior is the outcome of the software, what we develop in our mind. It is our mindset which gives shapes to our personality. And it is same as the software does in the computer. Computer acts as it is instructed. Similarly, we act as we develop our instruction, our software. And Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai says, when you are updating your software, do not give any clue to any other person. Why? Machan lokalaka visala vachpaye. Because people will always distract, demotivate, and you will not achieve your destination, your goal. So do it secretly and update your software continuously, consistently, and develop your firewall.
Wow.
So that you are not influenced, affected by the external attacks, threats, and the malicious and mischievous programs and activities imposed by the shaitan and other people as well.
Right.
So this is one example that the concept of firewall, centuries ago, Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai introduced this concept for the safety, for the protection of the human body, mind, and soul.
Right.
And similarly, there is one other poem. It is a long couplet of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, which is related to another very important field of computer, that is called cloud computing. You might have heard.
Yes.
Cloud basically simplifies in computer. It simplifies the internet.
Okay.
So when we prepare a diagram of computer network, we use the symbol of cloud to indicate that it is the internet basically. And Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai used this concept of cloud for almost similar type of network of knowledge and wisdom and information. And he says that Moti Mandanan ji vari kyain var. Mandan means the cloud. Moti Mandanan ji vari kyain var. Viju vasan ayu chodas ain chodar. So everywhere there is a cloud.
Chodas. From all the sides.
From all the sides around global network of cloud. के उठ्यूं वनी इस्तांबुल में
के पहुंच्यूं मगरब पार
के कन मटियो मगरब पार के चमकन चीन ते के लन समरकंद सार. So whether it is China, whether it is Samarkand, whether it is Istanbul, the Turkey, whether it is Europe, Maghrib par. के रमी वयूं रोम ते के काबुल के कंधार. रोम इटली,
कंधार,
काबुल के दिल्ली के दखन के गुरन मते गिरनार. के जुम्बी जैसलमेर तां दिना बेकानीर बिकार. जैसलमेर, बेकानीर, बिकार, these are the ancient sites of knowledge, wisdom, civilization, culture. कन अची उमरकोट जा वसाया वलहार. उमरकोट, the थर, the मारवाड़ा. किन भुज बुझायो किन ढट ते ढार. So he is talking about the blessing, the power of the knowledge
that showers everyone.
Showers everywhere, and it is in the form of the clouds. Same thing as we are having in the form of the computer. You are downloading the data, the information, files from every
so modern technology is like rain showering everywhere.
Yes. के लड़ियों लाहौर ते के मिलन मथे हालार के पुरियों पंजाब दे के न चकल ते चमकार लाहौर पंजाब उमरकोट साइम सदाई करीं मथे सिंधड़ सुकार दोस्त तुम दिलदार आलम सब आबाद करें. So this आलम सब आबाद करें, and now you see in this modern age everywhere we recognize the economy based on the knowledge based economy. The universities are said to be the engine of the socio-economic change. The countries which are technologically advanced, they are having a good GDP and they are prosperous.
Yes, and it is the tool of progress.
So he is basically talking about same alam sab abad kari. Globally there should be prosperity based on the internet of knowledge, internet and something.
Okay.
So you see how is it relevant, and in centuries old poetry of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai.
So as you say,
exactly the same terminology,
but tools are different. One is scientific and other is poetic.
Yeah, in those days, perhaps it would not have been easy for people to understand this poetry.
But great poets, great minds foresee things. They foresee things. So thank you very much, Dr. Azhar Shah.
And I also have some other couplets. There is another field of computer. Today I'm mostly focusing on the interpretation of Shah Abdul Latif's poetry relevant to the computer science.
Okay.
So I started with the Firewall, the computer security, which is very important.
Then
the cloud computing, and now the parallel computing.
Okay.
Or multitasking. And parallel computing or distributed computing is also part of cloud computing. It is almost same. And regarding multitasking or parallel computing, Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai says, Hathan si haaj kar, nenan si nihar. Do the work with your hand, and with your eyes do see. What to see? Ubha angana par pas panja supri. Your beloved is in front of you. So just it is said in Persian, dast bekar, dil bejar. Do your activities with your hands, but remember your beloved in your heart. So that is multitasking. That is parallel computing, relevant to parallel computing in modern science. In addition to the poetry of Shah Abdul Latif, if we see the poetry of even Allama Iqbal, there is one poem in the Bangidara.
It's very famous.
Aftab Nazam, which means the sun. So in this poetry, I wonder how at that time Allama Iqbal expressed what we currently call the photosynthesis.
Okay.
That all life is based on the light from and heat from what we get from the sun. So that same message of photosynthesis is expressed in this Aftab sun poem of Allama Iqbal. Similarly, the unified theory of fields or energies, on this theory, Abdul Salam got the Nobel Prize in 1979. The same concept is available in the poetry of Allama Iqbal, which talks about the same nature and unified theory of electric fields and magnetic fields and these fields. Similarly, if we look at the works of modern Chinese writer Lu Xun, who is considered as the founding father of the modern Chinese literature.
Okay.
Basically, he was a doctor. He got medical education in Japan, and then he came back to China, and he practiced and taught medical in the initial years. Then he realized that the people of China, they have become exploited, they have become slaves of the feudal system, and their minds, their intellect, that is not working properly as per dignity, as per liberty, as per potential. So he thought that instead of taking care of the bodily diseases, I have to take care of the mental diseases, because we have to change the consciousness of people and make them get free and liberated from this exploited and oppressive feudal system. So then he turned to the literature, and he did masters in literature, PhD in literature, and he became the professor of literature, from medical to literature. And then he made an analogy. There is a famous book, Madman's Diary.
Madman's Diary,
which is also translated in English, Pagal Ki Diary. And in this Pagal Ki Diary, or Madman's Diary, he makes analogy that the feudal system, the zamindari system, the Waderko system, Jagirdari system, it is just like cannibalism. It is Adamkhor. It makes
it kills people, it eats people.
So one person becomes enemy of other person, other human. Human become enemies of each other. They fight with each other, just like the animals.
Cannibalism.
The one who is mighty eats others and exploits others. And through this message, through this literature, he changed the perception of people and prepared them to go for the revolt against the feudalism, against the oppression, against that system. And then he worked for the democratic system, for the fair system, transparent system. And the Chinese people, now you see, they've got the prosperity.
Right.
And they have good system. And people are happy, and the country is developing.
Yes.
Until and unless I find same sort of system prevalently in our land, our country, whether it is Sindh, whether it is other provinces, until and unless we get rid of this feudal system, which imbalances everything. We get rid of this system, then there would be some chances of progress, prosperity, and egalitarian and democratic system. So Lu Xun basically worked on the combination or synergy of science,
and
literature, and art. He compelled the literary people to read science and also the scientists to read literature.
So both are needed for each other.
Yeah.
And with the combination of these things, a better society, better world can be.
Yeah, this is the same thing as in 1960s, Charles Percy Sinu in Oxford University. He realized that there is divide in the intelligentsia. The literary people, literary intelligentsia, they are on one side. Professional people, scientists, engineers, they are on other side.
They should go hand in hand.
They should come on the common platform, discuss and solve the problems of society collective, based on the collective wisdom.
Yes.
And then we can have the progressive society. So for this purpose, I have started from 2019 from Ladkano, when I was the Pro-Vice Chancellor at Sindh University campus, Ladkano. I established a society of students and civil society that we should reduce this gap between the art, science, and literature. So we established a society, science, literature, and art. Science, adab, and art.
Great.
And we tried to do first conference on all these three disciplines. So there was art, activities regarding art, literature, and science.
You are playing a role of like a bridge between these segments. So it's I think it's a need of the time.
It's need of time. When I did PhD in the England, and I saw in other countries as well, European countries, USA, they have established these societies from 1960s. They are taking benefit of this. But in Pakistan, there's no trend of making a common platform for. We have art councils which are working separately. We have Sindhi Adabi Sangat or Tarki Pasand Adab, whatever.
And I think if art becomes connected with science, it will become more effective. And if science will also be benefited with art. So these are very intrinsic, interconnected things. They are not different and opposite things.
Not opposite. So one thing is science is about the rationality, the logic, the argument. The literature gives us the creativity, the imagination. And through the art, we can convey this literature as well as science. We can beautifully convey it to the people, to the audience, and create the awareness through the art.
Even explaining science with artistic approach and in poetic approach will be a better thing, I think. It will be more attractive.
Yeah. So you see, art, even in the ancient days, even religious people used art to
express themselves
and to create awareness regarding their theories, ideas, and spread it among the masses. So if we perform the theatre, we arranged
yes, you did a wonderful job.
Festival, Inter-University Theatre Festival at Nosharu Feroz.
Yes.
Now, when theatre is performed at the stage, the audience gets so interested, so involved that
it was wonderful.
If we deliver the lecture, no one remembers or no one takes interest. But once it is performed,
so
the art
performing art has very
art
much
is
importance.
It has the impact. So you see, the poetry, if you read the poetry, it would not have as much impact if it is sung. And it is accompanied with the music, the instruments, with the art. So art makes our message more impressive more effective and memorable. Adds the memorable qualities to it. So we would conclude today's session on the scientific interpretation of Shah Abdul Latif's poetry with the last couplet that I have taken from Suraj. That is the sur related to the water. And Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai in this couplet explains the structure of the ship that travels through the river.
Oceans
and rivers. So structure as well as function and operation. So it is something like engineering, something like SOP, standard operating procedures. And I wonder how at that time, that terminology, that idea, that concept, exact number of components, structure. You see, Sodagar Samdaja Laju Lal Vatij. Those tradesmen, the Vanjara. Laju Lal Vatij, the ropes which are on the ships, they should be painted red. Laju Lal Vatij. Sid Sambhaye Sakalat Ja Kuha Khub Khanij. Sid, that is the sail. And Sakalat is the special cloth that is used for that. That is hard and that is used for that sail. Sid Sambhaye Sakalat Ja Kuha Khub Khanij. So Kuha, these are the supporting pillars, wood that supports the sail. Acha Ola Aaj Ja Changa Chitai.
Wow.
So that material, that component which is involved in the structure, Satta Sukhanyu Sambhatu Chha Chajaryu Adij. Satta Sukhanyu woes, 7 woes, and 6 canopies, 6 floors, and in the ship, very large ship for the trade, for the business. Sat sare sayad che puri pujaich. Whatever you are going to trade, you have to take it carefully. Mula molam khabru puchi parorich. Before going to the travel, ask for the knowledge, for the weather, for the environment, so you would not be in the danger. So this is the SOP. Wasakav marabum sharaban taura pani pak ph. Now when we sail in the sea, there is salty water. So he says, he is reminding that when you travel, before traveling, take the sweet water for your drinking. Otherwise, you would be no more there.
Yes.
So pani paak piyej, jenke sikke sabko piri so pasij. So he says that take the manzil, take the goal, the destination. Your destination should be something, somewhere which no one have ever went before, and aspiring to go there. But you should aim for that, the high purpose, the important purpose, the high vision. If there is lud, if there is storm, you should not go here and there, but you have to be steadfast and with your knowledge, with your skill, move forward and reach your destination.
Wow.
So this is.
So these are the guidelines. How to
SOPs,
move forward. Without any danger.
It explains the structure of the ship and then the function of the ship and what is necessary to go on the travel. Complete SOP.
Wow.
That is the modern management, modern science, management science.
If we can say in this way also, this world is a huge sea. And you have your life like a boat.
Yeah.
So be strong enough, make it strong enough that you
to be successful,
or you can safely reach your destination.
Yeah. So in addition to this, there are a lot of such couplets.
So
of Shah Abdul Latif
we will again ask you, request you to come here, please, and
it would be my pleasure, because this, when we do this in English, the audience is whole world.
Yes.
And my colleagues at Nottingham, at Iran, at Australia,
they can easily
I have the links
understand
of the computer science. I could share this link and they would see.
Okay.
And I think this would be an inspiration for them as well to read the poetry of Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, who talks about science as well, scientific the concepts, ideas, theories. And we scientists, we often watch movies. So we are connected to literature. Movies are the source of inspiration.
Yes, every form of art
ideas,
is
fiction, science fiction, movies. So they give us basically the imaginative capabilities, ideas, and then we do replicate, we investigate these things in the lab, in the computer lab, and they are complementary, as I said before. They are complementary. They are not contradictory. We should look at the similarities rather than contradictions in order to take benefit of both science as well,
because both are necessary.
So this is the science and the heart is the literature. Both these are the chief organs. The mind as well as the soul.
They should go together. Thank you very much, Dr.
Balanced individual and balanced society.
Thank you very much for your presence, for your coming, for your great ideas. We will again ask you sometime to come here.
Thank you.
Viewers, you must have liked our show, and in next podcast we will have another guest. Until then, goodbye.